Hi guys, it's Kasim. How you doing? I hope all is well. I hope you're okay. I hope you've been keeping well. And welcome back again to my channel. I wanted to talk a little bit and react to this whole OKBaby breakup that you've probably seen online if you've been following them. And I wanted to share with you three lessons that I've taken away from their breakup. Three thoughts, three reflections that I've been thinking about as I've been observing their life, studying them, that maybe might be able to help you in some way to think about your own life or to think about something, a relationship in your own life or your interactions you have with other people. Um, but before I get into that, guys, if you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June, please can you like and subscribe to my channel? You would be an absolute legend. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of places where I can begin regarding this situation. I could literally pull from so many things because as I've been watching their vlogs, I've been looking at watching their breakup video. I've been looking at their follow-up video. I've been on Kyra's Instagram. I've been on his Instagram. There's a lot of things that I can pull from. And before I actually get into the 3 points that I wanted to talk to you about, one of the first things that I think is really important to reflect on, as I've been reflecting on it, and I think is something for you to think about is, and this is what I basically believe. I believe that something is missing. I believe that there is a part of this whole scenario, this whole story that doesn't make sense. And my experience has basically taught me that anytime something doesn't make sense to me, anytime that I'm looking at something, whether I'm talking to somebody, I'm in an interaction with somebody, anytime I'm experiencing something not making sense, it's usually because something isn't making sense, right? It's usually because someone is keeping something from me, someone is hiding something from me, something is being concealed from me. And so before I obviously get into these 3 points, that's something that I would encourage you to think about in your own life. To understand that any time when you do have that feeling rise up from inside of you, that instinctual feeling where you're like, just something doesn't make sense. I'm looking at the situation, I'm looking at all the information that I've been given, and something just doesn't feel right. Something just doesn't click. 9 times out of 10, it isn't. And I truly believe that in their circumstance, in both Oscar and Kyra's situation, something is off. Something is missing. They're hiding, they're keeping something from us that I don't understand. Something is being kept, which is not allowing me to build a complete picture. I was talking to somebody and I was saying to them that a relationship, when we're trying to figure out people, as we're going through life and we build relationships with people, we want to think of a person, metaphorically speaking, as if they're like a Scrabble, like a puzzle, right? One of those picture puzzles where you've got different parts and you've got to put the pieces together, right? And as you get to know people, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to find out information about them and start to put pieces of the puzzle together. And the more that you put together about the person, the more you start to you get these haha moments. You're like, oh, I understand why the person does this. Oh, I understand why the person makes these choices. Or I understand why they respond in this way, right? And anytime you're looking at something and you don't understand it, or somebody, or you're in a relationship and you don't understand something, 9 times out of 10 is because you're missing a piece of the puzzle. Either that person is withholding the piece from you, or you just are misinterpreting the piece that you have. So I think it's really important to understand that in this situation, we obviously have a limited amount of information. Right, because one of the things that I noticed as I was watching their videos and the vlogs is that there is a lot of editing that is happening in their videos, which means there's a lot of stuff which is being left out, right? In other words, the editing is done in such a way that a certain perspective is being drawn. We're not seeing it raw. It's not like listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, which is not edited. You're simply watching and listening to the entire thing and you have full context. We are missing pieces of the puzzle here in their situation. So that's really one of the major things that I wanted to point out, because I think it's really important to point upon it. But anyway, let's get into these 3 points and let's crack down some of the things that I was listening to. I want to attack this slightly a bit different to what I've seen people sharing online. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So the first lesson that I wrote down here is that Oscar is not the leader Kyra is. If you watch all of their vlogs, if you watch all of their breakup videos and the follow-up breakup videos, and you watch all of the videos that they've created, Kyra 100% is the driver of everything. She is the man in the relationship. The issue that you've got with this, and it's something that, you know, if I was having a conversation with Oscar, I'd be having this conversation with him. I'd say to him, look, a woman is not looking for a best friend. A woman is looking for a partner to contend with, right? We've all heard what Beyonce very famously said, which is that it's very hard to find your equal, right? And your equal means that it's very difficult to find somebody who wants the same things as you. You know, as I was preparing for this video, one of the things that I was thinking about is, when I talk about finding somebody who's your equal, it all depends on what your equal is. Because for some people, their equal is finding somebody who wants as many children as possible. For some people, finding their equal is somebody who wants to build an empire. And I was thinking about, for example, a president, right? And I was thinking, if you are a man and you want to become a president, your equal is, you want a woman who is your equal in terms of being able to talk to multiple people, go on campaigns, put her dreams ahead of yours, and combine what she wants to do with yours. Is prepared to dress in a certain way, act a certain way. And the thing is, if you want to be a president, only a certain type of woman can really be your equal in terms of that, right? And I was thinking, in this relationship, what I think Oscar is looking for as his equal is not what Kyra is looking for her equal. Oscar is not Kyra's equal, and Kyra is not Oscar's equal, because, you know, one of the things that I found, and it's something, again, I would be talking to Oscar about if we knew each other and was having this conversation, I would be saying to him, look, women want a man who they can respect. Respect means that they can look to you and they can say, wow, you're doing really well. There's certain things that you are really good at. There's certain things that you're really competent at. And I really value those, because I can learn from you, and you can help me in some way use those assets that you have and those qualities to add to the quality of my life, right? The issue that you have is, in Oscar's situation, Kyra and Oscar's situation is that Oscar is not the leader. Oscar isn't really someone who Kyra is looking up to. Yes, he may be in terms of being a great father, but as being a great spouse, he really isn't, right? He doesn't know what he wants to do. He doesn't know what his vision is. He doesn't even know how to say no to Kyra. For example, I watched one of their videos where he has been very explicit in saying that he doesn't want cats in the house or animals in the house. And she went ahead, basically, because she is the leader, she disregarded everything he said, and she still bought the cats. Now, as a man, he should have stood up and said, we're not having cats in the house. That is not what I want. I've already told you I don't want them. Right? Now, in saying that, that doesn't mean that he doesn't take her decisions into account. But she went ahead, got the cats, and then she manipulated him in a way where she got the children attached to the cats first, and then she told him, right? And he went, instead of saying no to it and taking the cats back, he gave in, right? And that way, and that's how slowly by slowly, Kyra is losing respect for him, because he doesn't even have a backbone. He doesn't even uphold the ethics and the belief system that he has. And so that means she's thinking, God, if he will say no to me, what else will he say no to? And a lot of people don't even think about this stuff consciously. This is subconscious stuff that will be going on in the back of their head. And so one of the things that I would be saying, and I actually was saying to somebody today, is that you have to remember that women change so dramatically between the ages of 20 and about 25, partly because they have to get their shit together. And one of the things that I was thinking about regarding this is, look, Oscar has put himself in a position which is not a good position, because he's given Kyra everything that she wanted, but he's not been able to get what he wants. So he's provided her with a family. She wanted 4 kids. He's helped her build a really good income, right? And notice that I'm talking about he's helped her. she's now got to a place where she's vlogging, she's got a really good income coming from this, she's got a great lifestyle, and she's at the stage now where she doesn't need him, right? And obviously, if you're in a partnership, you want to be in a situation where you're both needing each other. She doesn't need him. What does she need him for? The only thing that she needs him for is basically for her children. That's it. And even that, she hasn't put her children ahead of everything, because she's put her happiness ahead of the children. Because if she was really for the children, she would have kept with Oscar even if she wasn't really that happy. But she decided to put her own happiness ahead of her own children. I mean, imagine the destruction that is going to cause. I can't even begin to put this into perspective. If she finds a partner, how is that going to collaborate? She has 4 kids. If he wants kids, how is this going to work? And I would say that part of the reason why she broke up with, man, there's so many things that I could go on, and I'm going off topic here, but this is such a complicated situation. But like, one of the reasons I think that they broke up is because she wanted more kids, he had a vasectomy, and she saw no way of having more kids, right? And so all of this stuff combined is all to do with the fact that Oscar is not the leader. Oscar isn't. I say to men all the time that you should have a vision for your life and a purpose so strong that you're prepared to leave your missus if she asks you to choose between her and the purpose. Here's a problem. Oscar is not got a strong purpose in such a degree that he is willing to basically let her go. Right? He is like a simp, as a terrible word which I hate, but he is a simp. He is not the man. He isn't the leader. He hasn't got backbone. He isn't leading his family forward. He may be making decisions about the children, but he's not the foundation of the house. He isn't pushing everything forward, building this vision, talking about 10, 15, 20, 30 years and where they're trying to go. She is definitely the driver of all of that, which is a problem because she doesn't see him as her equal or above. And women are hypergamous, where they want a man who is on the same level as them or above. And the issue that you have is Oscar has kind of been thrust into this relationship, has had 4 kids, hasn't really figured out who he is, what he wants, what he stands for, what he believes in. He definitely does not have a strong enough belief in himself and backbone for himself. Because he hasn't had time to be able to develop that, which I think is part of the reason why he didn't want any more kids, because he wanted to try and gain some level of control over what is happening, because she kind of is in the driver's seat and is taking things way ahead beyond where he feels like he has any kind of control, right? Which is part of the reason why I think he had the vasectomy, to try and gain some level of control in the relationship. So I wanted to say that because it's so important to realize this. You have, and I guess really the lesson that I want to articulate to you is that as a man, you really need to find what your purpose is. You really need to find what your drive is. What are you trying to build over the next kind of like 10, 15, 20 years? Because if you don't have that kind of vision, your woman is going to lose respect for you, because she wants a guy who is her equal. She wants somebody who she can build with, somebody who she can contend with, somebody who she can isn't a simp, isn't all softy. No woman wants a guy who just basically bows to her. A woman wants somebody who's her equal, somebody who will compete with her, somebody who will build a life with her. They can talk about the vision and add this in and subtract that and set boundaries. And I don't even think Oscar has boundaries from what I can see. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about, that I have learned from their relationship. The second thing is, do not get a vasectomy unless it's a medical reason or you're over the age of 30. I say this, and I'm going to keep this short because you pretty much get what I'm saying, right? Life changes so much. They're really the perfect example, and which is something that I've had to learn for me as Kasim. They are the perfect example of why you should not get a vasectomy, because so much has happened in their life between ages 20 and they're not even 30 yet, and God forbid that he does find a new partner. What are the chances that that woman is going to want to have a family with him? Very high, right? And so, as I would say to all of you guys, I know that you may want to be independent. I know that you may want to stop having children, etc. But You should do absolutely everything possible to ensure that you do not have a vasectomy, right? Whether that may be use condoms, I know you don't want them to, get the woman to have an implant, whatever you can do, but do not have that vasectomy, because it is very, very difficult to reverse it. They're in even a lucky position that they have enough money that he can reverse that vasectomy, because obviously doing a vasectomy, number one, is expensive, but reversing it is even more expensive because you require a very specialist kind of surgeon to be able to reverse it, and it's not even guaranteed if you reverse it anyway. So that's the second thing that I wanted to talk about. Please do not have it. Life changes so much between the ages of 20 and 30 that you just simply don't have enough experience to be able to make that kind of a decision. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, which is one of the lessons that I took away from their situation, is that if I was in Oscar's situation right now, I would go into purpose mode, right? Meaning I would go into really kind of basically making her regret not being with me. Now, I wouldn't use her regret, making her regret that she left me, as my motive, but I would use becoming my highest, fullest expression of myself, inspiration basically. I would use my capacity as the inspiration, as the drive for the next kind of 5-10 years of my life. So for example, one of the things that he's given up is giving up skydiving, which he absolutely loved. I would start to do that, right? Again, why? Because it's something that he loves to do. I would obviously begin to develop really strong friendships around me, because you're going to need that support system around you. I mean, they already have, as in I listened to in their videos, they already have some really great family already around them who support them. But I think for Oscar, he hasn't had much of an opportunity to develop himself away from the relationship. So in actual fact, I actually believe that one of the greatest gifts that Kyra has gifted Oscar is to break up with him, because now he has to figure this stuff out, right? He had the comfort, as he's talked about in one of the breakup videos, he talked about the fact that he was comfortable. He's hit a plateau. Why would he push himself? But now he's been given this opportunity to really push right to the edges of his capacity. And I'll tell you something. The reason why I say this is that there is a very, very, very likely chance that Kyra is going to come back and want to be with him. Why? Because Kyra hasn't been in the dating market. She's been with him since, I think, 18. She hasn't been in the dating market. She hasn't tried to date while she's a single mom, which is an extremely difficult... I mean, it's one thing to be a single mom with one kid, but it's a very different thing to be a single mom with 4 kids. And what makes her situation even more complex is that she earns a lot of money, which means that the guy she's going to go after now... Remember, women are hypergamous. She's going to want a man who is not only earns as much money as her or above, or can certainly provide the level of lifestyle that she can provide, and the kind of man who's going to love her and her kids and take them on and support her, but also somebody who's like equal, and somebody who's as good looking as she wants, and somebody who understands her lifestyle of vlogging, because he may not even want to get involved in vlogging, right? Like the pool of men that she can actually find is going to be so diminished, is unbelievable. Like, it's her pool of men that she can find, a very, 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 very small pool of men, right? And a lot of men, unfortunately, because she's a single mum, will use her and they'll have sex with her and they'll lead her on, but whether they're going to marry her is a completely different thing. And as a woman, like, she has to remember that. Men will be with a woman and sleep with her for years, for like 7-8 years, but they won't marry her, because women regard who they have kids with higher, but men regard who they marry higher, right? Meaning that a man can have babies with multiple women, but he will not marry them. Whereas a woman can get married to any old bimbo, but will not have children with just about anyone. So I do think that at later stage, she's going to come back and realize, man, like, I had it good. And sometimes the thing about life is that you have to experience that before. You have to actually go through that life stage where you look back and say, oh, like, you have to make that mistake before you can realize that how good you had it, if that makes sense. Because you wouldn't know how good something is until you've actually left it or lost it, if that makes sense. So that's basically what I took away from the three kind of lessons that I took away from their relationship. There's so much more that I can talk about, because their life is like such a great example of kind of things that how you should act or shouldn't act. But I just want to leave it there, and I don't know whether I've added some value to the quality of your life, or it's helped you in some way, or it's got you to think about something in your own life, but I hope it has. Right, so I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what I've said and you want to like and subscribe to my channel, please do. But apart from that, I will speak to you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.